If you have ever visited Salem, Massachusetts, then chances are you've seen at least one of those signs that say, "Beware of witchcraft" or something to that effect. It's all part of the local branding. After all, Salem is known as America's most haunted city, and it has been that way for a long time. In 1692, there was a witch hunt in Salem Village, now known as Danvers, and nearby Salem Town, which is today just known as Salem. 19 people were executed for witchcraft, 14 women and 5 men, 5 of whom confessed to being witches before they died. But what happened after that? What if they had survived, or what if there were other witches around town? Well, let me tell you about some of the forgotten rituals of Salem. This is the first episode of our new series, Historical Horror, where we cover scary stories from history itself. And since I love a good ghost story, I figured we should start off with a bang by covering some of the scariest places in American history. Now, I could have done this in a different way and covered a bunch of supposedly haunted places around the country. That's not very interesting to me because I want to hear about the history behind the hauntings, not just the fact that they exist. So instead, I'm going to use an old travel guide and work my way through, stopping at every place mentioned to find out what kind of ghosts are haunting these historic sites. Let's get started. All right, so here we go. The first thing I'm seeing is a boat named the Friendship of Salem. Okay, great. Apparently, it's one of the most haunted spots in town. Supposedly, when it was being built in 1897, 2 rival dock workers got into a fight over a girl, and one of them pushed the other off the ship where he drowned. Now that worker's ghost is said to wander around the docks looking for revenge. I don't know. Is he? Are they still fighting over the same girl? You think? How does she feel about all this? The only other thing I could find on this is that the boat burned down in 1911, which probably didn't help matters. But I can't find any link between that and any ghosts. Sorry, gang. This one's a bust. Next up is another boat called the Eleanor. This one was launched in 1863, but sank in 1880 with 22 people on board. Only 15 survived, and their spirits are said to still linger around the waterfront. Again, I couldn't find any specifics about these ghosts, but given how many people died, maybe we should just assume they're all still angry about it. Okay, the next one is going to be better. We're actually going to a place. Oh, the Hawthorne Hotel. Ah, yes, I've heard of Nathaniel Hawthorne. He wrote The Scarlet Letter and sadly died believing that he was cursed due to his family's involvement in the Salem witch trials. It is said that his ghost haunts the hotel along with the ghost of a woman who died in room 403 and a little girl who wanders the halls at night. Room 403 is said to be the most haunted room in the hotel, though, with doors opening and closing on their own, shaking beds, and more. And apparently, the general manager will never book anyone in room 403. I don't know why. Do you think it's smart to advertise a haunted room and not charge extra for it? Like, if I was booking a hotel room and I got the option to book a room that might be haunted, I would absolutely charge extra for that. That's prime real estate right there. Moving on, we have the Old Burying Point, which is the oldest cemetery in Salem. Established in 1637, it contains the graves of many prominent figures from Salem's early years, including some of the judges and clergy who presided over the Salem witch trials. One of the most famous people buried here is Rebecca Nurse, one of the 19 people executed during the witch trials. She was a well-respected member of the community who had no part in the alleged witchcraft and was likely only accused because she was disliked by a few vindictive women. Her grave is said to be haunted by her spirit, as well as the grave of a little girl named Elizabeth, who died at the age of 2 months and is buried with her. If you walk past her grave, she may just try to grab your ankle and pull you down into her grave. Fun. Okay, next up is the Salem Witch Museum, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the original witch trials, right? Nope. Apparently, it's right next to where the original witch trials took place. Whoops. Built in 1874, the museum is said to be haunted by several ghosts, including a woman in a hoop skirt, a judge's wife who died in childbirth, and a young boy who died of a fever. The museum staff have reportedly witnessed strange lights and heard footsteps and voices echoing through the building at night. I wonder if the spirits of the accused witches linger here. Maybe they never left. And last but certainly not least is the house at 38 Washington Square. In 1692, a woman named Rebecca Root lived in this house. She was tried and convicted of witchcraft and sentenced to be hanged. However, she escaped execution by pleading the Fifth Amendment and claiming that she was insane. Yeah, really, that's how she did it. The house is now a private residence, but it is said to be haunted by Rebecca and other members of her family who died in the house. One former resident even claimed that he had been scratched by a ghostly cat while living there. I guess you aren't safe even from their pets. And that, my friends, is the end of Part 1 of the Forgotten Rituals of Salem. Next week, we'll continue our tour and finish covering the rest of this list. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing for more content like this.